I need like 15 minutes. Don't start yet.
Yeah, okay.
We're live. So Steve, we've discovered that this whole StreamYard, and when I'm just in preparation, our listeners they get these updates. Hey, and they're typing. Come on, I need it now. Frank,
Yeah,
patience. Um, Alessandro's telling us to, give me 15 minutes. Okay, so we're on your time schedule.
yeah, for sure. Alessandro went to visit the Porcelain King.
The Porcelain King. I like that one. So it doesn't look like schools are opening up back in a couple of weeks. Our prime minister said this, Steve.
Probably not.
No. I don't know if you knew, but it was Roddy Piper's 66th birthday this last weekend.
Oh, very nice.
Very nice. Right. What's happening, Pasquale? I'm going to give everybody a couple of minutes. So I'm just wondering how Gigi Lapatat, Frank, Dominic Pontari, like, how did they know how to comment? Like, I didn't get a notification, nothing, but it's like, what did they say? It's like, you guys pretend not to be professionals, but you see, who wrote that? Hold on a second. T. Pepperoni said, like, this is what the pros do when they go make people wait for their show to come live. You guys are pros, and we don't even know. Yeah, we're definitely pros at T. Pepperoni.
This is like U2. We make you wait a bit, and then Rattle and Hum comes out.
And T. Pepperoni is from Adelaide. What time is it though there in Austria?
I don't know. It's probably 8 in the morning.
8 in the morning, yeah. Frankie says we're frozen.
Tell Frank he's frozen. He's 420.
Yeah, he's frozen. This is the 420 edition. Steve, David's like, oh, now you like Steve's hair, huh?
See?
All right, Steve, you ready?
I'm not putting any products in my hair.
No products in your hair. So do you wanna get this started so Presidente knows where to put his
yeah.
All right. So, what do we got over here? Where is it? I'll call this. It's about we can't find your application anymore. All right. We gotta, spice it up, Steve. Dancing in the streets, because that's what we're going to be doing after this quarantine, correct?
Dancing in the streets.
Cari amici sportivi, welcome yet to another edition of the Milan Weekly Podcast. Here where we're other than dancing in the streets, where we talk everything Milan, even when Milan does not play Milan, where we're here for your entertainment, Milan, and when we're not professionals.
Nor do we pretend to be, ladies and gentlemen.
And we have Nick from Milan Club Boston. Long-time listeners, first time watching. And I believe we have a little interview with him next week. We're going to figure out. Welcome, Nick from Boston. Stevie P, Vinny T, always faithfully here every Monday.
Okay. Steve's going to cut in right here, guys.
Go ahead.
Let's make everybody understand what's going on tonight. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen,
big thing.
Not only do you get a Milan Weekly Podcast, which will be exactly 45 minutes, you will also stop this podcast, re-log on again to StreamYard to do the fantastic Milan Club FIFA 2020 inaugural Tournament of Champions.
A tournament that was mentioned on milannews.it. So, President, we have 32 different clubs. Well, they're not all Milan clubs. We're going to get into that. 32 different clubs. We're going to do the live draw. So once this podcast is over, we're going to cut it off. Go log back on. Because President, what did he say, Steve?
He says, I need 2 different files. Okay? Steve, for the draw, I would like you to look a little bit more presentable, please.
And I believe, Steve, before we bring in our special guest, I believe this was one of the reasons why we did not get where he delegated his presidential points this week. Am I correct in this? So, am I wrong?
A lot of work being done, guys. A lot of work being done behind the scenes.
So I just wanted to make sure before I ask you to bring out your inner Bob Ross. And before I say that, that's what I want to tell you. I did a bit of Steve. I don't know if you know the term vanity search, where people search themselves on the. I searched ourselves on the internet And I found the one review on the Reddit machine, the other Reddit machine.
Reddit.
Milan Weekly Pod, two great guys, great hosts, but their presidential points, cringy. So on that note, right, please bring out your inner Bob Ross
Barbara.
and paint us the picture how Presidente was not able to give us presidential points this week.
So, guys, a lot of work being done behind the scenes, as you know, for this inaugurational draft for the Milan Club FIFA 2020 Tournament of Champions. So, Presidente, he took out the old 1964 physics and geometry book from his days back when he was in high school and started to calculate and try to figure out how the bracket was going to come out. He wanted 32 teams, then he wanted 64 teams. He was bringing out his own Michel Platini slash Seth Blatter. And because of all these calculations, guys, and the first lady was hounding him, Marcello, baby, what do you want, baby? I have to do the draft. Everybody's counting on me. Everybody's counting on me. And then all of a sudden, we received an email with a simple Excel, two tabs, print the names, print and cut out the names. Excuse me.
Mm.
And Steve, please print out the numbers, cut them out. Vince doesn't have a printer, deliver them to his house, and do the
So
draft in
contactless delivery.
exactly non-contact delivery. And please do two separate files, guys. I want two separate files for this one.
So that is the reason we were not able to get presidential points this week. A lot of work, but we do have with us because he prepared his own presidential points for our benefit and your benefit. We have with us. Yes, go ahead, Steve.
Guys, this is an important triple P tonight, guys.
It is
It's an important triple P because,
What's
guys,
going on?
he is El Presidente in the making. He
In
is
training.
the future. He is the future of Milan Club Montreal. Look at this gray beard, Adriano. I will soon be gone. I will soon be gone as VP. Marcello, he looks good, but at a certain time he's gonna have to retire. Vinny, absolutely no hope. Mario, absolutely no hope. Jan, maybe, but he works at the government, so we don't know what's gonna happen with that, right? So the triple P tonight, guys, is Adriano. He is AKA, you will not see it on the screen, Pezzo di Pane. What
Yes.
a kid. Gets on the bus and leaves the furthest outcast of West Island, travels the metros, the buses, hitchhikes. I don't know how he gets to Chocharo.
sells his body to come to
Sells
Chocharo.
his body. Exactly.
Whatever it
Vinny.
takes.
And whatever it takes to come and watch the games, guys. So if you talk about dedication, I tip my hat to this young guy. Calcio, guys, fantastic podcast. If you don't listen to it already, chime in. It's unfortunate the rest of the people that are on that showed him go for Juve or other stupid teams that we don't care about on this podcast. But our Pezzo de Pane is Adriano, and he is our triple P tonight.
What's happening, Adrian?
No, it's great. What an introduction. I don't think I've ever gotten that much of praise in my life. I'm only 23, but that's probably the best praise I've ever gotten in my life. So thank you, Steve. Thank you, gentlemen.
And no, thank you to you for being part of this club and always sacrificing with your coming to the games. You have your own podcast at the Culture Guys. Check it out. And I believe, Steve, that he had Presidente on once, as in a special guest. Where probably Presidente, even though it's probably just by phone, he probably put a tuxedo on.
I mean, I would think so. Like knowing Presidente how he is, but yeah, we got. I guess luckily we got Presidente on actually twice. We got Steve on once, and we're yet to get Vinny on. Unfortunately, obviously now we're in limbo with this Serie A and with this whole coronavirus pandemic shenanigans. So yeah, I mean we're kind of in limbo now with us. But yeah, definitely if you guys can, any listeners, check out the Culture Guys at the Culture Guys on all social media platforms. Catch the podcast on all your favorite podcasting platforms as well. It's very simple. Get your Milan fix over here. Get your Calcio mix, Serie A mix on with us. So it's great to be here.
Get Presidente to buy you a new webcam because you're very pixelated. But it's okay.
Yeah,
your angelic voice is that what we need, right, Steve?
I see that. Yeah.
Steve. You're muted, Steve. You're muted.
Steve,
What's
you're
going on?
muted.
I'm muted.
Steve, you're
Sorry,
muted.
sorry, I'm muted.
You're muted. You're muted.
This is all part of the plan. It's the stupid thing that I will hear because I have for work. I'm used to clicking it on and off. This is all part of the plan, Vinny. We know that Marcello,
Yes.
he has his unique double, Marcel.
Yes.
So now, Pezzo de Pan and Presidente in the making. You think he can come just right on and show his beautiful face right there? Oh no. He pixelated his camera on purpose. Sound quality and radio voice intact, but image a little just to be left. Does he really look like that? So
Just
that
in
this
case
is
in the
top
future
mark.
needs his body double like Marcello does. But we have brought him
You
on
gotta
here
think.
for his presidential in training points perspective. Please, Ade, what do you have for us this week? Because we have no preparation. We have no idea what you're going to shoot to us. Go ahead.
So yeah, I mean, listen, I have big shoes to fill, like all your guests do with these presidential points perspectives. But like I've seen, and probably many Milan fans have seen so far in this news, obviously with the Serie A season in limbo, we don't know what's going on next. Transfers is another dilemma that we don't know how much we're going to be able to spend, stuff like that. Obviously, this is Steve's favorite time of the year, but we just don't know. There's a big question mark on that. So my first point, I saw it a lot on Twitter. I'll actually shout out. I think it was Matt Santangelo that even brought up this point, but many Milan accounts have. So first off, what do you think, and would you take on Mauro Icardi? What is the likelihood that he will join Milan? Is his baggage worth it with this Milan, seeing the state that we're in? And can he finally be the unlikely source to finally break that number 9 curse? I'm putting that in quotations, number 9 curse.
Steve, we've brought it up in the past couple of podcasts, right? But now it's a couple of websites that bring it up, and would I take them on? And I think would you bring it down to maybe guys like us, Steve, that we bleed the red and black. We're old school guys, but we still understand that nowadays it is a business. We have accepted the fact that l'ere delle bandiere are over, and we've accepted it as being a business now, and it's always about the club. If we have this mentality, Steve, let me ask you, forget Wanda. If we have this mentality of this is a business, should we not take him? Yes or no?
If this is a business, and again, we talked about it, and I don't mind talking about it, but my answer will constantly stay the same. And I see on the chats, Icardi no, or Icardi yes, Wanda no. For me, that's what it is. I need to someone, and I don't know if we have that. Maybe it is Maldini. Maybe Maldini needs to sit down with this guy and have that Teo Hernandez conversation. Look, you played with Inter. You're coming to Milan, the city rivals. Well, there's going to be pressure. Will you be able to handle that pressure? When we played at Derby della Madonnina and we're the away team, hey, the ultras weren't nice to him when he was an Interista. Could you imagine when he's a Milanista? The locker room. There's young players in that locker room. There's no veterans. He's going to be a veteran, actually. If he steps into there, he's going to be a veteran. Will he be able to mature and provide us some leadership?
Steve, I think you're muted, bro.
No, Vince muted me.
Sorry.
Vince muted me. So, where I was with that point is that, look, guys, it is a business now. And you know what? We've taken on players from Inter that have made us forget that they played with Inter. Seedorf, Pirlo. The list goes on, right? So let's throw away this garbage about do I like Icardi, the human being? I'm not sure. I don't know. As in, when he was playing at Inter, I had a reason to hate him because he was playing with Inter.
Of course.
Wearing the red and black, guys, and Milan being desperate to have a goal scorer and a top striker. I think Milan has to entertain that possibility. But there's a big if again, and we said it last week. Will Inter dance with the devil again? Will they sell to Milan? If I'm Inter, to be very honest, my track record to selling to Milan has not been very good. And if I'm selling them a 20-goal guy, huh, I would think long and hard, and I would make sure that he forces me to sell him to Milan, and Milan pays, and they have to pay.
So you know what? Even taking Alessandro's comment, would the talks of Icardi and Tonali? Okay, we're fantasy booking, but if Icardi and Tonali come on and they make those purchases, are we not a contender for Scudetto?
Absolutely not.
No,
Bold.
Absolutely
It's
not.
bold. I think it's bold.
it's a very
Bold
bold
statement.
statement. Not
I
from
think
just a
so.
striker. We need maybe another world
No,
class player.
no.
But we top four.
Guys, but do you understand what
Maybe.
me and Vinny are going through on a weekly basis? We're naming you a decade worth of terrible, terrible transfers.
Check us out on our YouTube. We don't have a schedule; we just pop it up. But yeah, we've been doing the decade of debauchery
Yeah.
with our starting 11. So
and
imagine
it's that for a reason, guys. It's that for a reason. There's not only the high profile purchases that you make, Icardi, Tonali, those are high purchase and high attention transfers. It's the little pieces, the little moves. You think, like, like a guy like Jan Kulowski or Serginho back in the day. Those are not big, humongous transfers. Jan Kulowski was a great player, but he was surrounded with so much class that he became that fringe player who knows his role. Unfortunately,
the
this
fine
team,
tweaking, yeah.
yeah, the fine tweaking, and unfortunately, this team of Milan is missing a lot of those fine pieces.
Nowhere near.
Nowhere near the Scudetto, Alessandro. Nowhere near.
So
But-
thank you for go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say I thought you guys broke it down well. But do you think if he were to come in now, this is obviously the biggest if in probably this transfer window. But if he does come in, there's always talks of that number 9 curse. We can never score. We can never get that top strike. Does he? I personally think in a strange world, in a hypothetical world, that he can be that guy. I just want to know what your guys take to that.
If Icardi of all people would come and he would still not be able to score at Milan as a number 9, we're truly cursed. Steve?
And look, guys, let's face it. Icardi, can he create on his own? I would say not proven yet. Can he score when he's served properly and he's able to play his role in the box? Yeah, he's proven that he can score. But this curse of the number 9, or whatever you want to call it, guys, in the end, it's not the curse of the number 9. It's the curse of Milan. We've been going on 10 years, guys. We let go of a player like Pirlo to one of our nemesis.
He went there. We didn't leave him to go there. He went there.
Whatever it is, that's too bad. They should have signed him. If they wanted him,
True.
they should have signed, or they should have sold him to somewhere else. They didn't. He walked to Juve. And you know what? I'm not gonna shit on him for that, because he has a Champions League with us. He has many accomplishments with Milan. That, yes, okay, he won 6-7 Scudettos in a row. That's fine, great. But they didn't win nothing in Europe. Zero. Absolutely nothing in Champions League. So for him, Milan is always going to equal that Champions League. And I think that was already the tipping point. Those were the mistakes started to happen with the old administration, where we were not able to sell players. We were making them go to the end of their contract with like a ton of money that we were trying to give them. And then players like Pirlo walk for free, go on to another team, not evaluated properly, and go on to that other team, which are surrounded, and we're surrounded with very good players, and go on a 7 to 8 year run of Scudettos. That's a terrible, terrible mistake by the management. So bringing Icardi in, could it be a reverse of the curse? Yeah. I think the Interisti might say no, but I am, as a Milanista, if I have to shake things up, I'm going to try everything to shake it up right now, because we're going on 11 years.
That's the same thing I was thinking.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's the same thing I was thinking. I mean, it's you need to shake it up. We've gone through 10 years, like you said, 10 years of shit. So if there's anything to shake it up, I mean, especially with the uncertainty of Ibra, and we don't know, what's going to happen with him in the future. But I think to shake it up, I think it would work. But I'm glad that you guys brought up the Tonali point, because I guess I'll segue into that question. I wrote it down here, in black and white. Do we go all out for Tonali? Is he alone the answer to the long time midfield issue that we've had probably for these 7, 8, 9, 10 years with this Milan team? Or is there other pieces that need to be put into place besides Tonali? Because yes, obviously he's only gotten his first year in Serie A this year with Brescia. Well, not really a full year, but we know he's talented. But does he have enough to be the sole piece to fix this Milan midfield?
Sole piece, I think that's a very big word. I don't think signing a guy. Now, correct me, guys, if I'm wrong. Doesn't Tonali play in the same position as Benacer? I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but
No, we're forced to play Benacer where he plays.
Yeah,
but
more or less.
Tonali, yes, it would be a great, move towards the youth. But is he the sole piece to bring us back? No, I really don't think so. I think he would need some sort of guidance or some sort of experience in the midfield with him. But going all out, Steve. What's
I
going
would
on
go
in Serie A right now?
Well, for the 40 million price tag that they have on him, I think if we don't grab him now, he's only going to get raised in value. I personally think so. That's why I posed the question.
If you want to go with this format where you're buying now, 40 million is something that has to be digestible for a club. It's not a crazy amount anymore. So
that's what I'm getting at.
If the Serie A, and they're not going to make this mistake again. They're going to make the Verratti mistake again, where they're going to let Verratti go to PSG for 12 million, and everybody's going to want to reverse and take a time machine back and make that purchase. That 12 and that 40 is somewhat close right now, right? Because of times have changed. The players are their transfer values completely skyrocketed, and people want you to pay. So Brescia is going to want you to pay. The problem with Tonali is that you have to go all in if you believe that Tonali is that piece to that piece that gets you to the next level. You have that piece of Benacer, who's that ball-winning midfielder who can actually play with the ball a bit. You have that piece, which is Kessie, where if he's a ball-winning midfielder and only a ball-winning midfielder, he fits that mold perfectly. If you ask too much from him, unfortunately, you're asking for a player that does not exist. But if you add this general, and he has to be a general, which is Tonali, and playing at Brescia, and I watch him. I'm not going to say that I watch him all the time, but when I watch him, he looks more mature than his age. Then yes, to that piece cannot go to Juve and cannot go to Inter. The other question is will he play? Will he want to play at Milan? There's those rumors that he's a Milanista, and everybody's a Milanista, right? But in the end, the green counts, right? Brescia is gonna want their money for him. So Milan has to go with the 40 million and say, look, take the 40 million. We want Tonali now. And there's no time for him to stay at Brescia, because we don't have that time. But if you're taking on Tonali, you have to understand that there's going to be growing pains. And again, I'm going to repeat it for everybody who's listening and did not listen last week. We are getting Tonali. We are not getting Pirlo. So don't make this comparison between the two. There will be only one Pirlo in our lifetime. And now Tonali has to make his own mark. Will he be better? I don't know. Will he be worse? I don't know. But don't compare him to Pirlo. We made that mistake with other players. It's not the way to go.
Yeah, no, very well said. I couldn't agree more. I mean, I think it's, like you said, 40 million in this day and age, how the market's so inflated, it's not very much. And like you said, it would kill, I'm pretty sure, every Milanista around the world if you would go to either Juve, like you said, or Inter. That's no doubt about it.
That's a killer, because we lost the Barella sweepstakes, we lost the Sensi sweepstakes. Those are two guys that, hey, Sensi got hurt this year. Barella had an okay year till about the pause. So look, we can't lose another piece. They're getting stronger and we're getting weaker. Sometimes a purchase like that is to not make your opponent stronger. There's comments here that I've seen. I think it's Frank who said the mistake from the old administration was basically selling Shevchenko and Kaká and not reinvesting it properly. Frank, for the love of God, I've said it 1,000 times. Berlusconi needed to sell those players to give back the money that he needed to give back to Finvest. There was no reinvesting. And thank God we didn't reinvest it, to be very honest with you, because as you can see, 10 years later, there was absolutely no plan.
He's gonna
to
come after
reinvest.
you now. He's gonna come after you with bank statements and
I can't
everything.
wait.
And
I
you
can't
know
wait.
what? And then like you see these comments, put a supporting cast around Tonelli like Ancelotti did with Pirlo. Frank,
Easier said than done.
there's it's easier said than done. There's a thing called financial fair play. Do you think that that's what sometimes
So what if
it
what if
freaks
they
me
take it
out?
out? What if they take it out? What if they take it out? This financial
That's
But
fair
my
play.
it,
that's my next question.
Okay, so let
let's
him
go.
go to the last question. Go.
Well, no, that was a good segue. I didn't want you guys to get too deep, but I want to just hear maybe your just opinions on. Obviously, again, we don't know. There's a lot of question marks. Vince repeat with this whole we don't know business. But how do you think Milan, goes about their business with financial fair play, and then potentially with it not being there, if it's on pause, with this whole coronavirus, what do you think their plan of action is without it? Do they go all out? Is this kind of that again, quote unquote, blessing in disguise that this maybe team needs to get this decade going, or is it just another year with this Milan team?
You know what? Even let's just put it this way. And Adrian, I love it how your face, we can't see it. You're not who is he?
Sorry.
You should have like the black bars on top of your eyes.
I'm
But
sorry.
no, don't be. For me, Steve, even okay. Let's discuss this. Let's say they let us carte blanche for the next couple of years.
Yeah.
Rumors of 130, 140 million for Ragnick, whatever. Guys, even with 100 million euros to invest in this Milan team, even with 100 million, are we number one Scudetto? No, we're not.
No.
To me, right? So we can go reinvest all this money, but let's just say they go, let's go all in, let's go spend this 130 million. We'll have a couple of years to think about it, but I don't think a couple of years. We've spent 200. Let's put it this way, guys. We spent 270. We threw it out the window, and I get it. There were really bad buys. I'm not trying to compare it to this 100 million, but what makes me believe that 100 million into the market is going to help us win the Scudetto, is going to help us maybe solidify a top 4 spot. But I wouldn't just go all in, Steve, because we don't know about this financial fair play. What if they come back a couple of years back? But I don't think 100 million would put us back in the top 4 contention. But guys, there's still all those other teams that if we're able to spend 100 million, what makes us believe that they cannot spend 100 million?
Fair.
It's fair, but I disagree. I disagree because the first step to getting out of that financial fair play is getting to that Champions League spot. It's step by step. If we think on this podcast week in and week out every Monday that we're going to spend 130 million and next year we're going to win the Scudetto, guys, I think we're listening to the wrong podcast. But if you tell me you're going to spend X amount of dollars and without the financial fair play lingering over their heads, but someone has to tell us, the fans, what does that mean that it's not going to be lingering over your head? Does that going to mean that in 4 or 5 years then we're going to have to be break even? Then it's an accounting world. Then we get the presidente and everybody who's an accountant and start crunching some numbers. And there has to be a financial, like in North American sports, there's a cap expert. There's a guy who he controls the cap. He knows what you have to do for the cap. I'm pretty sure, and I would be shocked if we don't have one, but these Serie A teams and these European giants need to have a financial fair play expert. PSG had a financial fair play expert. They signed Neymar and Mbappe in the same window. In the same goddamn fucking window, guys.
Nuts.
So don't tell me that there's no loopholes. You pay for the guy. You're Elliot. You pay for the guy who's gonna find you these fucking loopholes. Get me back to that 4th spot where I'm Champions League ready. And then when I'm Champions League ready, Tonali is not gonna think 2 times before he wants to come to Milan. Icardi is not gonna think 2 times if he wants to come to Milan. All these goddamn players who say, "Oh, I want to come to Milan. I love Milan. I love them as a kid. I love them as a kid." Boom, you're not playing Champions League. Oh, I'm gonna go to Juve. I'm gonna go to Inter. I'm fed up. I'm fed up. If there's no financial fair play and Elliot is serious, he's gonna flex his money. He's gonna take out the Black American Express card. He's gonna go and he's gonna buy players to get us to that fourth spot. If you win the Scudetto while you're trying to get to the fourth spot, it's a bonus. But I'm fed up of seeing the Atalantas, and don't tell me about this stupid story that they grow players and I don't care, because their stupid coach danced in our faces when they
He
beat us.
still has it over here.
Yeah,
never
and
let-
I'm
you'll
never
never give
gonna
it up.
forget it. I'm
You'll
never
never
gonna
give it up.
forget it. And there's gonna be a question after where I'm gonna repeat the same thing. He danced when they beat us 5-0. Atalanta. That your biggest accomplishment is growing players. Wow, big fucking shit. Suck on my 7 Champions Leagues. That's what I tell you, Atalanta fans.
There's Heel Steve coming out. Fantastic. Go
You'll
ahead.
never,
Did
you'll
you
never
have
get rid of him.
more questions, Adriano?
Well, now that Steve was a bit touchy with the Atalanta, the Atalanta team, I kind of just wanted, it was just a topic that came to my head, seeing that, we're so uncertain. We don't know where this even club is. Are we going for youth? Or are we going for, for older players to try to build this team? There's so many question marks. It's kind of just, disgusting to see how this team was. I was going to ask, seeing that Atalanta, that's what Steve said is like their strong point is developing players from their youth. Their Primavera does very well. This year they were in first place. For anybody that actually does know that they were in first place before this pause into the season. They were dominant Primavera. They get talent, they sell them, they keep them. They got a good system rolling. I want to kind of just touch upon maybe the Primavera question. I know Steve has had a lot to say about the Primavera. We're shit when it comes to that. I want to see, do we copy paste what Atalanta's doing? Is that something that we can do? Can we finally get some youth into this club? Being able to sell for profit or keep for the team? Because the last guy to do it, Donnarumma, Calabria, Cutrone, but I don't know. It's kind of just been a question mark for me.
Yeah, but it's not the same. It's not the same. And let me age myself here. I'm gonna age myself because everybody gets on this Atalanta bandwagon, and I get it, and I have no problems with it. To be very honest, you, that's you guys have to understand that before the financial fair play, teams like Juve, teams like Inter, teams like Milan, they had to win. They were spending so much money that their sole goal was to win and make it to the Champions League. They had, and it's totally wrong on their administrative parts, that they had no time to start building an academy. Juve says, "Oh, they have such a great academy." No, it's because Juve buys everybody else's academy and sends them out on loan, which is a good way to try to evaluate your talent, because
Chelsea
you're
had to say,
buying.
yeah.
Exactly. Well, Chelsea's different. Chelsea
True.
has so much money that they buy these players and they loan them out for years and years, and they don't even know how many players they have. But the Milans, the Inters, the Lazios, the Lazio has a good youth camp as well. Roma too. But the Milan, Inter, and Juve of our world right now is not the same Milan and Inter of 10 years ago. Before financial fair play, guys, these teams had to win.
Where the fuck would this Atalanta be 10 years ago? It's like people want to talk about
were nowhere.
They would be nowhere.
Project, but I'm sorry if Steve, you're taking the words out of my mouth. It's like it doesn't make Frank. What did you say? It's like a wannabe knockoff of Parma in the '90s. Parma had that great season, right? They won that, and that's but
even at that,
legends on that team, though.
but you cannot even compare them to Parma.
but Parma
They had legends on that team.
they had great teams to compete. Who does Atalanta have to compete with? Juve, Napoli
Inter this year.
this year. That's
But
it.
even that, guys, Parma won a UEFA Cup. If Atalanta wins the UEFA Cup, you know what? I'll tip my hat. Yes, it's good. You had this fantastic project. But, you want to compare them to Parma. After Parma developed all those great youth players and bought them and sold them to Juve because Parma's Juve B, look, the team after went into shambles. You cannot reproduce that all the time. Back in the day, it was not possible to reproduce that 2 times because you had to win. The fans come because they're used to Milan, Inter, and Juve winning. The Roma fans and the Lazio fans, they want their teams to win. Unfortunately, once in every 20 years, one of them wins a Scudetto. Let's face it, guys. And I'm gonna piss off the Roma and Lazio fans, but that's the truth.
Big time.
But I speak the truth, guys. It's
Yeah.
the truth.
It's the truth. It's 100%.
Right.
Fantastic. I like Adriana did the segue. I know that David from Philly was throwing you flowers. Like what a host. He knows how to segue into the questions.
Yeah, no, dude.
Show his face because just in case he's got to
not
take
too much.
presidential duties in Montreal, he needs his who is
That's it. Double agent. But before if I can, before I jump off here, whatever, I just had a couple of player duos, I guess you can say, kind of like who would you rather, just just like jokingly, just for fun, just to ease off this podcast, if that's cool with you guys.
Sure, future president, go ahead.
So first off, would you rather Sebastiano Rossi or Dida?
Dida.
Paolo Maldini or Franco Baresi?
The reason I'm hesitating is because we didn't have the opportunity to watch Baresi as much as we saw Maldini, but I'm going to go with Maldini.
Yeah, me to be very honest with you guys, I like Maldini and everything there, but I just
to Baresi
something attracts me to Baresi that I don't know if it's the old manish person that I saw at the tail end of his career for that I was lucky enough to see a little bit of, but look, guys, I rewatched the 1994 the whole World Cup thing there, and he got hurt and he didn't play against Nigeria, didn't play against Spain, and then suits up in the final of the World Cup at 30 some odd years of age, and plays one of the games of his life. Misses, unfortunately, because Saki, and I'm going to say something bad for Tommy now, has absolutely no idea who to select on spot kicks. He selects the guy who came back from 3 weeks of knee ligament surgery to take the first spot kick. But besides that, guys, you have to tip your hat like that. And I have nothing against Maldini. I love Maldini as a left back, and but just playing in the middle, that for me the center back position has always been that mystique of Baresi back there, and having the chance to talk to him with Vinny and everybody at the Milan Club Montreal,
fucking awesome.
via Skype, you could swear, it doesn't matter, but those idiots at Milan don't want us to post the video. But anyways, besides the point, having the chance to talk to him, it gave me a little bit of shivers, and I'm gonna go with Baresi here.
I'm glad I'm stumping you guys on these ones. It was just something that came off on my head, so I'm glad I'm stumping you guys. So next, Kaká or Roberto Baggio?
Kaká.
Oh, but you're telling me playing at Milan, or you're saying in general?
You're stumping me now. They're all Milan players, so I'm going to say for Milan.
If it's for Milan, it's going to be the only time, and I'm so happy that it's recorded, that I will pick anybody over Kaká. Over Baggio, and I'm going to go with Kaká.
Okay, you're going with the Kaká. Obviously, the Baggio do a couple of years. Okay, you had a great year with
True, but he's a legend, so I just wanted to add him in there. But okay, fair. So we're glad we have this on video then. Moving on, Pirlo or Gattuso?
Pirlo.
Gattuso, Pirlo. Okay, all right.
Gattuso, Brayson, I met him, and because I just love his mentality, and fuck Pirlo.
I figured that's what the answer was, but I added it anyways. Next, Seedorf or Hulit?
Seedorf.
I'm gonna go Seedorf because I don't know. I didn't see Ruud Gullit play enough to admire the Dutch as much as the old timers admire the Dutch. But we're gonna go with the Seedorf.
I have 1988 Euros somewhere in my hard drive if you want to watch that game. Netherlands.
There you go. Shevchenko or Inzaghi?
Oh, okay.
I'm going Shevchenko.
Shevchenko for Steve.
Tabarnak. I gotta go with Super People. Yeah, I think just from the memories that it gave me, and and I'm gonna go with People. I gotta go with People on that one. Sorry, Steve.
Okay. And to end it off, again, I don't know if it's in your memory or not, but Van Basten or Weah, George Weah.
Van Basten for me because not that I remember him like watching him play, but he was that one player that was the allure for me. Like seeing that poster on my cousin's bedroom door, and it's like, who's this guy, Van Basten? I would go with Van Basten just because of the allure of Van Basten and because he didn't get enough time to play.
Yeah. I'm going with Van
Van
Basten
Basten.
only because I think that if he would flip flop eras with Weah, he would have probably still been able to continue to play, and he would probably have broken record after record. And I think we have another two Champions Leagues in there with Van Basten.
Wow.
I like it. I
That's all.
like it. Good job.
Yeah, no, it was good. That's all I have for you guys.
Well, thank you very much. Once again, plug yourself, even though we cannot see your beautiful Pezzo de Pana face. Where can we find
Sorry.
you on the Twitter machine and everything? Tell Presidente to allocate you more money for the internet connection. Don't you worry about it. We got plenty of money. Well, I don't really think so, but we're going to go. We got plenty of money. Go ahead,
Yeah.
yourself, your podcast, and where we can find you.
Honestly, I really do appreciate you guys having me on once again. You guys are two great guys doing, what everybody loves. The love of Milan. So honestly, thank you so much for having me on tonight. So where you can find me, I run a Serie A based podcast with two of my good friends. It's called The Calcio Guys. You can catch us on all social media platforms at The Calcio Guys. So that's Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We're trying slowly to grow this into something hopefully big. We don't know where it's going to take us, but so far, so good. Catch our podcast too. Subscribe, listen on all your favorite podcasting platforms, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes, all the good ones. And if I can say to all the listeners out there, stay safe, stay home. Hopefully, we'll get through this pandemic soon, and we'll all be able to, unite as one big Milan family. And honestly, good luck to all the the participants for the tournament, for the FIFA 20 tournament. Special, there you go. Special shout out to Sami and to Massimo representing us here in Montreal, and all the best for that. So thank you once again, and una bacio a tutti.
Have a good night. Thank you for joining us.
Ciao, guys. Thank you. Ciao.
Other than video quality, what a fantastic.
He's a millennial and he doesn't have a good video camera. Look at us. I'm over here with. I look like I'm gonna be taking someone's order for McDonald's in the drive-through. You're at home. You're an old fogey too with your 1972 Boss headphones.
Bose, by the way, and they were purchased back in 2007, 6, something. They're still fantastic. Steve, before we get into the quick Twitter question, we don't have a lot, and I know we're on a time schedule. I wanted to ask you something. I saw a couple of articles. Bonaventura, if we are believing what we're reading, most of them are saying that he's not going to resign, that we have no plans to resign him. You think this is going to bite us back in the ass? Not keeping a guy like Bonaventura?
I don't know if it's gonna bite us back in the ass there, but it really sucks because he's been through really tough times with Milan. He was a steal of a purchase by Galliani when we wanted to buy Biabani, and then that didn't happen, and we ended up getting Bonaventura at the final closing of the market. But just a guy that unfortunately injury has caught up with him in the later parts of his career. You see that he lost half a step or a step, but it sucks because he should have gotten his sending off with Milan as a proper soldier of the red and black for sure. But it's gonna hurt that unfortunately this pandemic has caused him to lose his last season with Milan. And to be very honest, I don't think he's gonna resign, and I don't think our management right now, besides Maldini, would understand what it would mean to re-sign a player like that. But it also depends, guys. Again, it's a business. I'm gonna take Vinny's words. It is a business, and depends on what he's looking for in terms of term and in terms of money. Maybe he's not the right fit, and maybe it's time for him to go on, right? And I would love to see him at a team like, let's say, Fiorentina or Parma, or one of those teams that's pushing to go into the Europa League spots or the Champions League spots, just to see him continue his career, right? So, or he can come to the Montreal Impact because we probably would need a good player like that, and that would be not a bad signing.
I think if we get rid of him, Steve, I think it will be a mistake. Not because he's a great, fantastic player. I think he's that one key in our team that exudes consistency in the team in the last 5 to 6 years. And I think, like, now would he accept a kind of a bench role? That I'm not sure, but we'll see what it musters up. I know we got a couple of questions. One of them was a question about if we have to reopen the country or not. We don't get into political, Steve and I, so we're gonna sorry. Who asked us that question? I think it was eggs and pancakes. Yeah, sorry, we're not gonna answer questions about reopening country, what's right, what's wrong. But I will answer T Pepperoni's question. Good day, boys. Hope you and your families are well and safe. Here in Adelaide, South Australia, we recorded our third day straight of zero cases. Hopefully, the world starts to see improvements. What has been on your TV or movies during this quarantine period? Off, Steve. In the last couple of weeks, and President is live on the comments. By the way, guys, did you see that?
Is Milan Club Montreal.
Yes, he's Milan Club Montreal. What have you been watching? I know I sent you a couple. I sent you the 2003 Euro at the Champions League final.
Guys, this week was a fantastic week for me. I got control of the TV again. 1994, Italy, Nigeria. We watched that. We watched Spain and, if I'm not mistaken, Yugoslavia. What a fantastic game that was. I think it was Euro 2000, if I'm not mistaken. I forget the years. And I watched again Netherlands, Czech in Portugal. For the Euro in Portugal. That was a back-to-back smacker of a game. So I'm enjoying the free UEFA TV and the free FIFA TV, which I'm plugging these giants for no reason on our podcast. But hey, it's free, so go watch that stuff.
Guys, for me, it's been wrestling, and rediscovering my old hard drive. So, Dark Side of the Ring, check it out tomorrow. Dino Bravo, the story of Dino Bravo. They have great documentaries. Chris Benoit was the first one. They have last season. Me, it's all about wrestling, guys.
Oh, I also watched Milan Manchester United.
There we go. Francis, our snake of a friend, on the Cultural Line podcast, they discussed the possibility of Milan having a similar philosophy in terms of project as Atalanta. Okay, Francis, we answered that one there. You have been named consigliere. Whoever is will manage the squad. They need you to recommend 3 departures and 3 arrivals on the field. What will they be? Well, three arrivals. We can. Okay. Well, I'll take Ronaldo, Messi. 3 departures, Steve. Let's go with 3 departures that would bring us in money. Business.
Donnarumma, if you want to bring in money, Donnarumma has to be one that's going to leave. Then, guys,
for a good price.
Yeah, I think Kessie would. I think I would go if I would have to pick from all sorts of the field. I would go. I would go Donnarumma, Kessie, and probably Paqueta would bring back money. Would those be the transfers that I would want to do if I don't want to bring back money? No. I would absolutely, if I don't want to bring back money and I just want to make, I want to clear space for players that need to come in and play. Hakan Chananoglu has to leave. Where else we're going? We're going to have to address the center back spot. We're going to need to find Romagnoli a partner. So I would show Musacchio the door. He's been a good servant, but look, we need to move on, especially if they're gonna keep. Oh my God, I can't remember his name. Who did we sign there from? He played sausage maker is gonna leave, but this is again, Vinny. Okay, let's take the pandemic away. You brought me into a fantastic zone. Take the pandemic away. You take this guy on loan for X number of millions. It's great. He's a young player. You seem to have someone who has a bit of, hey, upside. You want to take the chance. You take him on loan. But you don't play him. We get in this shit show. Now he doesn't fit the plans, and now he's gonna leave. So you threw that money away, and what makes him? Then this guy. Then this is another question for you. If we're taking these types of players on loan, like Salsicha Maker, what does that say about our Primavera team? Is there no one on
Mm.
that team that could have put in those X number of minutes? The guys, these are the
Yeah,
questions that you have to ask yourselves. If we're taking salsicha maker loans, there's
just
a
to
big problem. There's a big problem. Exactly. There's a big problem.
You know what, eggs and pancakes, because he's listening, and you know what, I'm gonna answer. We're gonna answer your question, your second part of your question. Because said, do you feel like it's time to reopen the world? If not, when do you think culture would come back at all this year, considering a second wave of COVID-19? Steve, call me crazy, but I think not just calcio Serie A, I think sports are gonna reopen with social distancing. I just have this stupid picture in my mind when there's going to be like one seat too empty, one seat too. I don't know, but
I don't know. I don't know.
I think reopening the sports, Alessandro, I don't think it's priority number one. I hope they do something special, whether it be, like what you may call it. Them ESPN releasing the Michael Jordan, thing ahead of time, something special. The soccer, by the way, it was fucking fantastic. The first two
The
episodes.
Last Dance.
Yeah, the Last Dance. Do a sort of a tournament, like they were saying, like something like that. But right now, I just have this feeling about soccer being reopened with the social distancing.
Yeah, so now opening the world in two parts, right? If you want to open the world and the economy and try to find ways to make these poor people who have small businesses and unfortunately they're not going to make it with social distancing, am I 100% for it? No, but I feel for these people who have the small businesses who need to have the economy switch turned back on, right? Uh, there has to be a way. Well, look, we're in the year 2020. There has to be a way, and there has to be a way for people to take accountability for themselves and be smart about not only themselves but the people around them, and say, hey, we're doing this for these poor people that and I'm saying poor people because it's just a terrible terrible thing to be a small business owner where you have nothing to fall back on in terms of like help from the government, like we have unemployment insurance. This is all on your own, right? So the world, yes. In
But
terms of sports, guys, let's be face it. The government and the big powers that be are looking at things for people to remove this possibility of cabin fever, of let's give these people something to watch. But guys, we watched the
but
last game of Milan with closed stadium, and it was
and it was
terrible.
weird.
It was weird.
And speaking of giving us something to watch, I don't know if you just saw the comments. Compare Ciccio from New York telling Presidente, ma you still haven't figured it out. What did President? You expect Presidente to watch Milan TV illegally? Oh, he's got a reputation to uphold. He's got an image. He can't do these things
Can't
illegally
do that.
with VPNs and all this kind of stuff. So that was pretty funny. Thanks, Faz. Steve, let's finish it off. Any indigestions for this week?
The indigestions, I don't know. It's always the same thing.
It's always the same shit. I don't even think we have any brioches, any good feel good moments of.
I think we missed it last week, but I'm going to bring it up this week. There, Gianluca Vialli winning his battle with cancer. He came out with a tweet there, so that was nice to see that at least we're getting some positivity from there. And my brioche of the week is to eggs and pancake. Telling us I didn't know that they had 3 straight days of zero cases in Adelaide. This is something that the news doesn't tell us, right? They're going to tell us that Montreal had 900 cases, but no one's going to say, hey, if you look across the pond, they must be doing something right because they had 0 cases in 3 days.
That's pretty much it, and it doesn't look like we're going back to work anytime. Well, you're at work. It doesn't look like I'm going back to work anytime soon. So, feel bad for everybody there with kids, but hey, ça va bien aller, as they say. Tutto andrà tutto bene. Everything will be fine, guys. Indigestion. That the fact that Steve looks like Toldo these days. Why is that an indigestion? Look at him. He's gorgeous. Steve.
Frank, if anybody saw the podcast yesterday,
No offense, Frank.
they're gonna look more towards you than me, Frankie.
All right, guys. So if you guys want to see the live draw for our FIFA, what are you wearing over there, Frank, Steve? Oh, look, you got your friend's
Small
small
businesses, guys.
business.
Vesta, if you're in
Or
Montreal, beautiful.
groceries from Mario, our friend Mario over here in town. I'm not going to give him some money again and get some groceries. Support local at 100%. Guys, I'm going to end this broadcast. We're going to start a brand new one after that. Stay tuned if you want to pay attention to who's be playing who. Presidente, I don't know if we're going to allow him to talk during the podcast.
We don't know if he's gonna want to talk. He's gonna be sharing the Excel.
His first things about, do I need to be on the camera? Like, I don't know. To share your camera and go from over there.
What time is it? Are the kids to bed, Presidente? I want to see it in the chat. Everybody's the first lady's okay, taken care of. You got her a nice little scotch to calm her down. Can we do this draw in a very orderly fashion where we can move things along quite quickly? Because I've been in front of the screen the whole day.
Oh boy. Bon. So have yourselves a fantastic evening, guys. We'll be back on to the next video if you guys want to follow us. President is gonna have to edit all this out. We'll have to keep it for 45 minutes. And stay tuned for, just put the subscriptions on, the notifications on, guys, because when Steve and I, we don't decide about this this decade of debauchery. He just calls me, you want to go on in an hour? Okay, let's go on in an hour. So put those notifications on. Ovunque e sempre.
Forza Milan.
Ciao, guys.